for the pace, my friend, where the brave and the bold belong. When the gate car flies and the field breaks loose, the whole crowd joins in the song. From the rumbling start to the thundering roar, hope's alive in every race, 'cause legends are born on the grass and the wind of the famous Musselburgh pace.
Hello everybody, and a warm welcome to you all. Welcome to this Musselburgh chat. Yes, we're looking forward to the 2026 harness race meeting at Musselburgh. Musselburgh takes place on June the 13th, Saturday, June the 13th. There will be hopefully 12 races on the card. First race is at 2 o'clock. This is a meeting, of course, with a really rich history. The greats of harness racing, both equine and human, have graced the famous turf at Musselburgh. Musselburgh, as we all know, is one of the crown jewel events in British harness racing, along with the likes of Appleby, Tregarron, and the classic races. We lost Musselburgh for a spell. We've got it back, and we want to keep it. Now, Musselburgh is a special meeting, and the two individuals with me this evening are familiar to everyone on the British and Irish harness racing front. I'm sure you won't mind if I say ladies first. It is Sarah Park. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Darren. I have just realised that it does say at the bottom of my screen Sarah Thomas, because I've not updated it. But yes, I am Sarah Park. So okay. we'll go with that. I thought you were going to introduce me as Sarah Thomas. Old habits die hard.
Actually, I wrote here P-A-R-K. Park.
Big capital letters.
It's not. It's normally Sandown Park and Kempton Park, but it is Sarah Park here.
It is. And
Sarah is joined by Mr Musselburgh himself, the legend, the one and only Ian Pimlott. Hello, Ian.
Hello, Darren.
Looking forward to Musselburgh?
Very much so, yeah.
I want to ask you this question, Ian. You know, what makes this meeting special to British and Irish harness racing fans?
Well, Musselburgh's really the mecca of our sport. It's our derby. Everybody wants to win Musselburgh.
And it is different, though, isn't it? It is different because, look, we're accustomed to, for those who are just tuning in from, from out of the British Isles, outside the British Isles, let's explain what Musselburgh is all about. Compared to the week in, week out harness racing, which we all thoroughly enjoy, at the likes of York and Tear Prince, the Ammon Valley, the hard tracks, the grass venues up and down the land, Appleby, Tregarron, all the others, Prestine, all the Wales and West, Hotfield. Don't want to upset anybody, Walsingham, all the tracks. They're generally left-handed and no more than half a mile in circumference. This is different. We are on the Thoroughbred Racecourse. We're on a circuit which is 1 mile 3 or thereabouts.
Correct.
In circumference. So what's that? That's 2,200 meters. You can tell I've been working in Bahrain and France, can't you? 2,200 meters. And it's not just that, because, week in, week out, we're harness racing on clockwise tracks. No, not. We're going anti-clockwise tracks. We're clockwise here. So in other words, we're generally going left-handed, anti-clockwise. We're going right-handed, clockwise. And you've got 2 long straights as well, Ian. So it is just a totally different entity.
Yeah, it's totally different altogether. You've got to drive the race different. Most of our races are miles. This being a mile 3. You've got to get round the first turn, over the sand to start with, get into the backside. There's a road across for the golf. You've got to negotiate that. And then you're running downhill down the backside, which some people get unbalanced with. The bottom turn is a lot better now. They've banked it. It didn't used to be banked, but it's a lot easier to get round now. And then when you come into the straight, you're 4 furlongs home and you're climbing all the way. So it's a special track, really.
And there's a bit of a kink in the straight. It's not a true straight, is it?
No, if you go, well, I used to come into the straight on the inside and near enough finish on the outside because that was the shortest way without going through the kink.
I thought you were going to say you cut across the golf course then.
I've tried it.
That was the secret. That's the secret to the success.
And Sarah, growing up on the harness racing circuit, you were aware of this great meeting and this Musselburgh. What does it mean to you? How would you describe Musselburgh?
Musselburgh, when I was much younger, was almost a myth. When I was just going racing, infrequently around the Welsh meetings, Tregaron was always the big, the pinnacle of our season in Wales, certainly as followers of it. And even when I became involved racing within it, people talked about Musselburgh. They kept an eye on what the results were from Musselburgh, but so few people within my kind of circle were traveling up there to race because it really was the pinnacle of it. It was something that a lot of people aspired to, but perhaps didn't travel up there if they didn't think they had a chance because the competition was so incredibly stiff. And because of the differences, I expect, with, the distance, the fact that you're running clockwise, all these different elements that make Musselburgh unique. The first time I ever went there to actually race my own horse, but it was the first time I think I'd ever actually been to Musselburgh. I was completely overawed with the occasion and the venue. I felt like such a fish out of water because everybody seemed to know where they were going. Everyone knew where they had to be, walking across from the lorries over to the parade ring. They knew which boxes they had to be in, where to get the number cloth from. And I was panicked. I was on my own and I just thought, I don't know anything. I don't want to do anything wrong because it all felt so official. And that is part of, I think, with the racing on the race courses. I've raced at Foss in the past. Obviously been to Wolverhampton. You feel the sense of occasion because the venue is so imposing with the buildings and the preparation stages. And, before you even get the horses onto the track. So it's lived up to that mythical kind of status that it had for me growing up. It definitely lived up to that. I know for a lot of people who've been involved in the sport a lot longer, it carries a lot of emotional weight, in terms of memories, in terms of what they've tried to achieve over the years with multiple generations of their families. It means a lot more to a lot of other people, but I understand it. And that sense that I get from other people is very much what makes me emotional about a place that I perhaps haven't got such a strong connection to. You feel like you get caught up in it on the day, winning at Musselburgh, regardless of the type of race that you win. People get caught up in that occasion, the celebrations, the crowd, everything about it. And for somebody like me that is an overly emotional person at the best of times, I get so swept up in that. It's unbelievable. I'm crying with people.
So Sarah, folks, will be race day presenting at Musselburgh, and she's the one who will be crying in the corner in the winner's enclosure, full of emotion. No, beautifully said, beautifully described. And Scottish harness racing can be very, very proud of Musselburgh, and British harness racing, Irish harness racing. We all embrace this meeting. Ian, just thinking about your experiences at Musselburgh, would you mind enlightening us? When did you actually first drive at Musselburgh, and how many times have you tasted glory in the biggest race?
And I think the first time I went to Musselburgh, I would be about 13, and I rode in saddle.
Right.
In them days, the saddle horses used to run in the same race as the sulky horses.
Interesting.
So that was an experience. I've gone most years since, yeah.
And what about the big race itself, the famous Musselburgh Pace, the Group 1 famous Musselburgh Pace? How many times you've lifted that?
8, 7.5. One was a deadie.
One was a deadie. And the great horses that you've driven and you've actually witnessed at Musselburgh. Go on, reel off a few names.
Oh, my winners would be Blue Streak would be the first. And I don't know about the orders for the other one. Sonia's Boy, Staley TT. The day he won, I won 7 races, 6 each in the final.
Wow, that is incredible.
After him, Saunders Rapide, Bye for Now, that was a catch drive. Alan Aythornwaite trained him for Sam Ossel. Bye for Now, Pendle Brett, Grenell Rhapsody, Precious Fella. I've got beat on a lot more than I've won though.
Hard to believe, really, when you rhyme it off like that. That is hard to believe.
I won in them days. The winners went through to the final, and the seconds went through to consolation. So we won quite a few consolations as well. Obviously,
so lots of heats, and you know, as a pro such as yourself, you know, you get the butterflies going to a meeting like this, an occasion like this.
Well, it was the pinnacle. That was where everybody wanted to be. That used to be always on the second Tuesday and Wednesday in August. And the town was abuzz. I mean, you couldn't get a hotel room, you couldn't get a B&B, you couldn't get in a Misha's ice cream shop. They were queuing out the door. Caprice at the top of the town, you couldn't get in. It was just the money that must have gone through Musselburgh in that week was phenomenal.
But you, of course, wouldn't experience the nightlife because you being an athlete, you'd be early to bed.
Sometimes.
But the whole, I mean, the actual experience of driving at Musselburgh has changed. It looks different because, you know, for a fact, for a start, in those days, there was only the one course, the flat course. So you raced on the flat course.
Race on the flat course, yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays, you race on the jump track. You've mentioned that there's about a 200-meter strip of sand going around the paddock bend. Did you not have flip starts?
Tape starts.
Yeah, tape starts.
Tape starts, yeah.
And you raced in a set of colours corresponding with the number of the horse. Is that right?
Correct, yeah. In the early days, yeah.
A lot of changes. And the importance of the meeting today, Ian, you know, in 2026. I mean, you know, we in harness racing were really sad when we lost it a few years ago. It was music to our ears when, you know, Bill Farnsworth said, is there still an appetite for harness racing at Musselburgh? I certainly believe there is. I hope everyone's 100% behind us. But the importance of the meeting today and this meeting surviving and continuing, Ian, just tell us a little bit about that, how you feel about it.
Well, it is a one-off situation, Darren. We've nowhere else like it. And we've got to try and resurrect it and bring it back to what it was. But we need help from people to do it. We can't do it on our own.
No, we can't. We're going to come to that. We will come to that very, very important issue. Now, let's talk about this year's programme. We're Saturday, June the 13th. First race, 2 o'clock. The sun is going to shine.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. So obviously the Group 1 famous Musselburgh Pace. That's the race that everyone's itching to win. Sarah, just tell us a bit of an overview of the pacing programme.
Yeah, so as you mentioned there, the famous Musselburgh Pace Group 1 returns the handicap there, heats and a final. This has all been advertised on the famous Musselburgh Pace Facebook page, and I suspect on the BHRC website as well. Your standard ratings race and maiden race, and we've also introduced this year the maiden slot race, which is a concept that has already been tried and tested at Tier Prince. Eric Witherspoon is on the Musselburgh committee, so you know that's something that he's brought to the table at Tier Prince, where he also deals with all the racing there. Tregarron have tried a slot race kind of system as well. Previous CQ Evans also on the committee. Conversation came about, this is something, you know, worth trying. I know from my conversations with various people in the sport that yes, the famous Musselburgh Pace is the race to win, but winning a race at Musselburgh, you know, is that's what you're looking for. It doesn't matter which race it is, they're all important. And for a lot of people, winning a maiden race there's the opportunity to land a gamble as well with the bookmakers. There's a strong betting market at Musselburgh, and you know that's stood the test of time. So yeah, a maiden slot race, slot fee of £250 with prize money, £1,500 to the winner, £750 for second, £500 for third, and then fourth, fifth, and sixth place prize money at £250. 12 slots available. I think we've sold 9. I think we've got 3. I think there's 3 still available. They can be transferred. So obviously you buy the slot at this point. You don't have to nominate the horse or enter the specific horse until the actual entry closing date, which is in line with all the other races or the other events, sorry. So anybody who's looking to get a slot purchase now that the season started and you kind of know where you're at with your horses, there are 3 still available for that. So that's worthwhile. It guarantees a run at a maiden race as well. There's a novice event, and that kind of makes the pacing schedule. It's simple on paper. It looks simple. It's designed to be simple. You're trying to cater to as many horses in the country as possible, and get those events as full as possible as well, to make for, you know, good races for the spectators, competitive events, and a good spectacle. And then the remainder of the card then will be made up with the trotting races.
And it's over to Ian, just because it's wonderful to have Trot Britain La Trobe's involvement here at this historic meeting. And Ian, over the years, you know, trotters have been well to the fore at Musselburgh. They're an integral part of the history of Musselburgh. Tell us about the trotting programme.
Well, we're aiming for a free-for-all, the George Button Memorial, with added money. We're talking of having a mares race, which will be a qualifying race further down the season. And we also want to have a Monty race, which we've got the Honey Pears Trophy back for. So hopefully we can have 3 races. And what I intend to do is spread the races through the day, and possibly give people a chance to run in 2. Whatever runs in the free-for-all might also be able to win the mares race.
So that's great, and it's just wonderful that we've got the trotters back at Musselburgh. You mentioned George Button, which brings me on to the sponsors. We are looking for sponsorship, as we've already stated. Let me at this point thank the sponsors who have pledged their support for 2026. Paul Salmons, he's very, very graciously agreed to sponsor once again in memory of his dad, Mike Paceform Salmons. Big thank you to Hamish Muirhead, Trot Britain La Trobe, George Button, Watson Harrop, Equine Products North, the bookmakers, Ryan O'Neill, Jim Gammy, Jean Ingalls, staging the Alex McDonald Memorial, the Podmore family, the Tartan Arms, and also Gilvear, Greenhorn and Dixon. So we've got lots of sponsors that are pledging their support. We're still looking for sponsorship, and there are some really nice, Sarah, looking at this here, some really nice sponsorship packages where, you know, sponsors can bring their guests and enjoy the hospitality.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the feedback we had from the sponsors last year, and you look at these are returning sponsors, a lot of them, we had some really good feedback from sponsors last year, particularly the Tartan Arms, McHugh's, the Bannockburn mob, who also brought a bottle of vodka for the winning driver, which I tried to run off with despite not drinking vodka. But they thoroughly enjoyed themselves and were quick to give feedback about the experience the day they'd had. And that's what you want, because these people that are putting money into, help get this meeting staged with the prize money we're available, we can make available on the day, and with all the associated costs of running a meeting full stop. We need that support, but it's nice to be able to give people a really good experience and a really good day out in return for it. We don't have any control over how the races pan out, whether they bet any winners or not, but in terms of the hospitality and the food and the drink and you're more than welcome to come in the parade ring and join me with my microphone. I'm not saying I'm going to run karaoke sessions between races, but if anybody wants to get involved with something like that, I'm very easily persuaded and led astray. So, I always try to make the sponsors anywhere, any race meeting, enjoy themselves as much as I'm enjoying myself. But yeah, sponsorship packages are available. You can get in touch with one of the committee and just, ask the question. But there's packages available, but there is room for, I believe, one more race sponsor. It's just, get in touch and let us know sort of what your bandwidth is in terms of supporting, and we can let you know what we can get you in return for that. I can almost guarantee a good day out at the very least. So
it's all about having fun. It's all about having fun. So anyone interested, any potential supporter, sponsor, interested in getting involved, and we need helpers. We need helpers on the ground as well as the financial backing. But any potential sponsors, it's easy to get in touch. Just Musselburgh Harness Racing at gmail.com. Musselburgh Harness Racing at gmail.com. We last year ran a few fundraisers. The big fundraiser this year is around the FIFA World Cup. Now we're selling the teams. Now we've sold at the time of recording on the 12th of May 28 of the 48 tickets. So we really need your support, and this, you know, I'll say, you know, this will help the funds here at Musselburgh. That's the FIFA World Cup fundraiser, and that can be seen on our social media sites. Is that right, Sarah?
It is, yeah. It has been posted on the famous Musselburgh Pace Facebook page. It's £50 a go. You get allocated a team at random, and it's £800 to the final winner, £200 to the runner-up in the final, and then each of the losing teams in the semi-finals, if it's one of your teams, you'll get £100 back as well. In addition to that, if the team you are allocated plays on Saturday the 13th of June, you get free admission into Musselburgh races. So there's a little Brucey bonus for, I think it's 6 teams, and there's 3 games on Saturday the 13th of June. So 6 teams would be eligible there with their ticket holder to get into Musselburgh for free on the day. So just a little bonus as well.
Yeah, that's an important fundraiser. And let's stress that the Musselburgh funds, the sponsorship, all the monies that go forward to put this wonderful event on come from sponsors, come from fundraisers, which have been put together by the Musselburgh Committee, which is made up of people from all over these islands. It is nothing to do with the monies. The BHRC, whilst the BHRC support Musselburgh, as in support the concept of harness racing taking place at Musselburgh, there is no money coming from the governing body. This is all down to the sponsors and the fundraisers that have been coordinated by the Musselburgh Committee. Let's stress that at this stage. Now, also this year, we very, very, very kindly have been offered use of the stables, which, you know, potentially is a game changer for a lot of people. I'm thinking those people traveling from Wales, from Ireland, and we certainly want to see you all there at Musselburgh. However, and we can't advise you of the cost at the moment for a stable per horse, but for the stables to be opened and for us to have full access to the stables at the Musselburgh fixture, we really need to basically find out what interest there is in taking up a stable at Musselburgh. Now, basically, we'd like you to contact us by the 31st of May if you're interested in using a stable at Musselburgh, because the racecourse want to know, you know, well in advance whether we want access to the stables. However, we really do need a number of you to show an interest for it to be worthwhile. So in other words, we're looking at around about, probably need at least 25 horses to be interested, to connections of 25 horses to be interested in using the stables and for making that worthwhile. Now, if you are interested in utilizing the stables at Musselburgh, the best way I would suggest you show your interest is by contacting me or Ryan O'Neill by text. Now, my number is 07789 181833. That's 07789 181833. And Ryan O'Neill, 07860 708 824. That's 07860 708 824. Now, the cut-off date is the 31st of May. If we haven't got enough interest in using the stables by the 31st of May, then the stables will not be open. So because stables will come at a cost, but we need to make it worthwhile. We need to be using at least 25 boxes in the stable yard.
If we don't take the stables, Darren, we'll try and accommodate people around the area.
Yes, absolutely. As I think happened last year, didn't it, Ian?
Yeah.
Yeah. Regarding the race day experience, we've spoken. The restaurant, of course, will be open. That's right, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, so in the next couple of weeks, we will be advertising the dining options that will be available. It's a 3-course lunch in the restaurant with the views of the racecourse. They're actually sold out last year. I didn't get a chance to participate in that, sadly, because I was working, but many people did. Obviously, tickets all sold out for that. So, I mean, it's anticipated that based on the feedback we had last year, this will be a sellout again this year. So when you do see those notices going out on social media regarding tickets being available for the dining options, then please do, don't hesitate. If you want to get a table, if you want to go for a 3-course meal upstairs in the restaurant, then it's better to buy sooner rather than later, because I think the interest is there for that and the tickets will sell out. I had food at Musselburgh in those restaurants in the build up to it, and we were sort of having a look at what the menu options were going to be, etc. And I can confirm that the food was fantastic, really lovely food, and great service as well. So yeah, just keep an eye out on social media for that one, but that will be an additional thing. That's, you've got the sponsorship packages as one element of it, and then you have got that dine-in option in the restaurant as well. So plenty of opportunities for people. There will be other food available on the race course. There's going to be I think there's a chip van there, and there's going to be ice cream and everything else. But if you want to sit down in a restaurant and watch out of the window there, the view you get right at the top of the grandstand, then get one of those tickets, definitely.
And let's once again stress that the big screen will be there as well. There will be coverage on the big screen on the day. Now, the admission prices for the 2026 Musselburgh meeting is £25 per person. £25 per person, and excellent value, needless to say. But we appreciate, going back to the support and the sponsorship, we appreciate, in these times that money is tight. But if this meeting is to have a future beyond this year, then we need your help. We need your support. We have a wonderful relationship with Bill Farnsworth and his team at Musselburgh. They are so accommodating. It's just wonderful that we're so welcome at Musselburgh. They want to see us there. But, it's different to any other race meeting. It comes at a cost. We all know that. It comes at a cost. A lot of people were crying. A lot of people were really upset when we lost Musselburgh. You've got it back now. Please, don't lose it. Don't lose it. Ian, would you like to add to that?
No, you've near enough filled it all in, Darren. I'd just like to say, everybody that comes, make sure you pay on the gate, because if you don't do, you're just robbing your own sport. Yeah,
here. And Sarah, anything else?
There's so much history involved with this meeting that it would be a crying shame for it to fall by the wayside. And you consider your jewels in the crown across the United Kingdom, and we lost Aberystwyth, a few years back, and then we lost Musselburgh. The revival of Musselburgh is an opportunity not to be wasted, I feel. And I don't even race horses anymore. I'm involved with one horse, but it's not like it's multiple horses, and it's not like I own that horse specifically myself. But I can see, as I said at the start of this, I can see how much it means to so many people. You weigh up the costs versus what it means to you, what it means to your family, what it means to win there. And if the answer is, I still want to. I want to win there. I want my children to go there. I want it to become, the family tradition it had always been prior to it, finishing originally. You have to get behind it. So it would just be too much of a shame for it to be lost. I know it's expensive. I understand in the current climate, and there's other factors you know, involved with the sport and everything else, that perhaps it feels like overkill somewhat. But it's Musselburgh. That's what it comes down to. It's Musselburgh. It means too much to just say it's too much money for us to, you know, we can't continue with this. It's you have to keep trying. That's what I think.
And just bear in mind, folks, this committee that was put together last year of people from all over all over Britain and Ireland, you know, it was put together with the view to just revitalizing Musselburgh, bringing Musselburgh back to British harness racing. And you know, if you want it to continue, get behind it. Get behind it. These committee members are working extremely hard to make this a success. We really do need to get behind everyone and get behind Musselburgh. And we haven't given up hope. I know there's lots of obstacles to overcome, including internal obstacles, as in the amount of horses we have in training. But we haven't given up hope on bringing back or reintroducing the 2-day format. But this needs to work as a 1-day meeting for the time being. And we cannot afford to lose it. You know, there's a lot of people out there criticizing, you know, saying, do we, you know, well, the answer is, the question is, do you want to lose Musselburgh? Do you want to keep Musselburgh? We all want to keep Musselburgh. And what was it in 1914? I'm not suggesting any of us are old enough to remember 1914. But Kitchener said, your country needs you. So I'm going to say, Musselburgh and harness racing need you. Thanks for watching.
'Cause legends are born on the grass and the wind of the famous Musselburgh page.